During World War II, Hitler called his nation the Third Reich and saw it as a successor to the First and Second German Reichs. Reich is a German word roughly translating to kingdom, realm, or empire. If you're wondering what the First Reich is, well, it's the Holy Roman Empire, which we already covered on this channel. The Second Reich is my personal favorite. It is the German Empire. Our story starts in 1848. However, we still need a little background. Throughout its existence, Germany had never really been one state. Instead, the German people lived in their own separate countries. And as the U.S. states are technically their own little nations, but are you Nebraskan or are you an American? Hope you answered the latter, otherwise I have to think of another analogy. Anyways, the German states were the same thing, but they had a little more freedom. In 1806, after the Holy Roman Emperor Francis II dissolved the Holy Roman Empire, the German states were free to do whatever. Enter liberal nationalism. Liberals? Ew, liberals! They're gonna take away my gun. Liberalism just refers to anyone who believes in democracy as a system. You don't mean... Oh, but I do. Anyways, German nationalists wanted to unite all Germans under one huge state. Wait a minute. German nationalists supported unification after Prussia's defeat at the Battle of Jena. This might be the reason why Prussia was the big daddy of German unification. Meanwhile, in the French puppet state known as the Confederation of the Rhine, the German people there rebelled against the French. They developed an idea of being one people, so nationalism took hold here. The 1815 Congress of Vienna created the German Confederation, which was basically HRE 2.0. Prussia hated the German Confederation, and it began to favor nationalism, because Prussia would be in charge of a German state because of how big it was. Anyways, Prussia formed a trade union with some German states to make trading easier. This was called the Zollverein, which is German for customs union. The Zollverein included many members of the German states, most notably not Austria. Meanwhile, liberals across Germany began crying out for reform. Austria politely replied by oppressing the protesters. Now you're caught up. The year is 1848, and across Europe there have been a total of 15 revolutions in different countries, and Germany is no different. Riots have erupted across the German world. The Prussian revolts were blown to bits. Literally. And the revolutions in Austria forced an Austrian politician out of office. The King of Prussia reluctantly was forced to create a parliament for his kingdom. German liberals everywhere called the Frankfurt Parliament, where they discussed ways to unite Germany over tea and cookies. The King of Prussia declined to unite Germany. When all was said and done, the German Revolution had not done much, but it attracted more and more people to liberal nationalism. Meanwhile, Austria was getting weaker. Sure, it was still massive, but they lost a war to France and Piedmont Sardinia. There was a revolution in Hungary in 1848. Meanwhile, Prussia actually gained strength and support from its fellow German states, minus Austria, of course. The King of Prussia died and was succeeded by Wilhelm I, who appointed this guy, Otto von Bismarck, as the Chancellor of Prussia. Bismarck, in my opinion, was a great man and is number one on the list of best mustaches belonging to German-speaking people. Bismarck was a nationalist, not a liberal nationalist, just a nationalist. This will come in later. One of the first things Bismarck did was to modernize the Prussian army. In 1864, Denmark declared domination over Deutsche domains in Deutschland, so Prussia promptly proclaimed a push to prevent such a preposterous person from polarizing okay, I'll stop. The Second Schleswig War saw Prussia and Austria team up for once and kick them out of Schleswig-Holstein. Austria and Prussia split the land, but Austria didn't like that they had to go to Prussia to get to their land. When Austria tried to negotiate getting their land back, Prussia accused them of demanding their lands, so Prussia declared war on Austria. Austria called the rest of the German Confederation to its aid, but Italy joined in as well, so Austria lost the war in just 2 months. Germany formed the North German Confederation out of its new lands with its own parliament. Austria gave land the Italians wanted to France out of spite, but France gave it to Italy immediately afterwards. What happened next is a little confusing, but I'll try my best to explain. Wilhelm I's cousin Leopold was offered to become the new king of Spain because Spain had a succession crisis. France did not like the idea of being surrounded by Prussia and Spain together because they would be allies. France ordered Wilhelm not to tell his brother to take the crown. Wilhelm gave the telegram that France sent to Bismarck, and Bismarck edited it to make it look like France was begging them not to let Leopold take the throne. France was so mad at this humiliation that they declared war on Prussia. Now, you gotta understand something about Bismarck. He was a clever man. By making France so mad that they declared war, he made Prussia look like the victims. So the South German states, which were Bavaria, Baden, and Württemberg, joined forces with Prussia, and as for the war, France got obliterated. On January 18th, 1871, the German Empire was declared in the Palace of Versailles. Yes, Prussia pushed so far into France that they declared their nation in the Palace of Versailles. Now, for the first time ever, a unified German state exists. Remember when I said Bismarck was a nationalist but not a liberal? Well, that's because Bismarck made the new Germany a sort of authoritarian country. He declared liberals and socialists enemies of the Reich. That doesn't sound familiar. The new German state was primarily Prussian-dominated. The German emperor, who was once the king of Prussia, ruled via the chancellor, who was born in Prussia. Meanwhile, the Europeans just found out that there were non-white people in Africa, so they were determined to change that. The German Empire joined in on colonization in 1884 with the establishment of German Southwest Africa and present-day Namibia. Bismarck really couldn't care less about colonization, but the German public really liked the idea of conquering black people. Speaking of racism, anti-Semitism became, and I quote, was a factor in German nationalism. Yeah. Back to colonization. In only 4 years, Germany had become the third largest colonial empire, behind France and Britain. They annexed Togoland, Cameroon, they seized Zanzibar from Oman, they took over the Solomon Islands, Nauru, and some of Papua New Guinea. They also claimed some islands that Spain owned, which caused the Caroline crisis. Germany eventually did back down from this, however. And then the United States took over the islands a couple years later. Then Kaiser Wilhelm I died and was replaced by his brother, who will take place as ruler of such a powerful nation as Germany and continue the German legacy forever. Oh, he's dead. Kaiser Wilhelm II takes over as Kaiser, and he convinces Otto von Bismarck to retire in favor of a different chancellor. But the thing about Wilhelm is, well, he's kind of an idiot. He got Germany into a naval arms race with Britain that sucked up most of their money and resources. Otto von Bismarck himself said, and I quote again, "Your Majesty, so long as you have this current officer corps, you can do as you please. But when this is no longer the case, things will be very different for you. Your fall will come 20 years after my departure at this rate." Bismarck died in 1898. In 1918, the German Empire would fall. So quick recap, you have an idiot king ruling over a superpower. What could go wrong? Then in 1914, a driver took a wrong turn in Bosnia, and now all of Europe is at war. Germany did well at first, pushing far into France and capitulating Russia. Even by late 1917, Germany was doing well. But soon all of that would change. The Zimmermann telegram would bring the United States into the war. Soon, German troops would begin to mutiny. This then turned into a revolution. The empire was overthrown, and a republic was put up in its place. They accepted the peace terms of the Treaty of Versailles, and the war was over. The German Empire lived a short life, but in that time they colonized many parts of the world and became an industrial powerhouse. As always, I encourage you to do some more reading, and the Wikipedia links will be in this article. Thank you for watching, and this is Playhouse Films.